Repetition and practice. I think it's important to you have you have to internalize the fundamentals, right? What works. I want to share. I want to stop saying that. Obviously, I'm sharing. I often say there is no right or wrong in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, in a particular situation or moment, there is right or wrong. And sometimes I think of the whole analogy with is the glass half full or half empty? Is there a right or wrong answer? What is the situation? What is the moment? If that is your pure intention just to use that glass as a metaphor, if someone's positive or negative, fine. But what was the state of the glass? What is the goal? What do you want? For me, it just keeps coming down to that. What do you want? Then your actions determine whether it's right or wrong what you're doing. If I'm filling the glass up, it's half full because my intention is to fill it. If I have a full glass, and I drink it halfway down and my goal is to finish it, the glass is half empty. So it depends on, in that moment, what your intentions are, whether it's right or wrong, or if you're going in the right direction. See, sometimes I'm misunderstood, understandably so, and it's fine to a degree. I'm misunderstood as far as sometimes I'm considered being critical when I'm sharing my thoughts. Now, the importance to me, whether someone understands me or not, goes from my inner circle out. The importance. If you are close to me, yes, it is important for me that we understand each other, because I don't want you to take something that I said the wrong way. 9 times out of 10, or even more than that, I'm not going to say or do something negative. Not anymore. So if it's perceived that way, and you're in my inner circle, I ask of you to take a moment and say, maybe I'm seeing that the wrong way. I'm going to trust that it's positive, but I'm going to verify it. So I'm going to ask. And it goes out from there. That's family. That's partners. If I'm in a relationship, then out to my friends. Beyond that, if I'm just having a conversation with somebody and they don't understand me, okay. If they want to, if they're going to come in my inner circle and we want to understand each other better, then yes. We have to understand how to communicate with each other, how each other communicates, how I communicate, how they communicate. Yeah, that's important. That's important for relationships, right? You have to understand each other. Otherwise, you go around thinking, well, he said this, he meant that, she meant this. And again, this goes with partners and with family members. I'm sure you can relate. So communication is extremely important. Texting and emailing, those are even talking in person. But when you talk in person, you have to make sure that it's a mutual environment. It's not done out of anger or being upset, and you can talk openly. Now, it's kind of human nature. Well, some people don't take responsibility for stuff. They just blame other people, circumstances, and just that's the way it is, and that's their way of thinking. And again, I thought of something this morning. I remember when my kids, and if you have kids, you probably experienced this. Maybe you've seen it with someone else, or maybe even animals, where you're packing something and then they take it out, and then you have to put it back in. Or, your child falls down, just innocently, boom, you help them up, and then they fall down again, playing around at this point, and you help them back up. Now they're playing around. So, but in a bigger scheme, someone that keeps falling down and doing something wrong and you keep helping them up, at some point you become an enabler. At some point there's something else going on there. So it's you have to decide, how long do I keep reaching down? Or, there's this metaphor that everybody comes with baggage. Now this has more to do with relationships. Everybody comes with baggage. Okay. Again, what do you want? Do you want to carry around baggage? Do you want someone with baggage? Focus on what you want. The reality is that yes, it does happen. It is there. Okay? So you put a plan in place and you say, if this happens, this is how I will handle it. But I'm not going to focus on that. Because you got to focus on what you want, where you want to go. Same old analogy is going on a trip. Do you keep looking back at the house and saying, oh, well, and you keep circling around and going back to the house? Or are you going to take the fucking trip and go in the car and go to your destination? Well, one thing I came up with, I said, you know what? I get it. And sometimes you think you think things are good, and you get in a new relationship, and things come up that you didn't realize were there. I get it. It happens, right? So if this is part of communication in a relationship. Even now, this will expand out. You say, okay, if something like this happens, this is how we're going to handle it. Let's say communication. Let's not. If we have a misunderstanding, let's not text back and forth. Let's find a time to sit down and talk about it. Because text and email, things get thrown out of whack. So, but you have to stick to that plan. So I said, listen, I get that people come with baggage. I'll help you unpack your baggage, just like the analogy with a little kid. But if you keep putting the fucking clothes back in there, if you keep packing the shit back in there, and we have to keep unpacking it, at some point, just like going on that trip, at what point do you say, you drive for 100 miles and then you turn around and say, I'm not sure I want to go on this trip, and you go back home, or you start heading back home, and you say, okay, no, I'm going to go, and then you start going. What are you going to do? You stop at a rest area, you take a break, and you say, okay, I'm here, but I'm still going to go, but I need to do whatever. And then you get in the car and you keep going to your destination. You go, what do you want? You have to keep asking yourself that. Now, again, it's a daily practice, it's a daily exercise. And I'm just throwing some of the stuff out there that I've done to help me that... if two people are on board with something and they have the same goal and they decide, okay, this is how we're going to do it, all right, we'll do it this way, we'll do it this way, then we'll do it this way. And, you might say, okay, no, let's take this road. Okay. But as long as it's in the direction of your destination, as long as you don't keep going backwards, as long as you don't keep putting the clothes back in the suitcase when you're trying to take it out, when you're trying to unpack the fucking luggage, the baggage. So, see where you are on that side of the fence? Are you the one trying to help unpack and you just keep doing it and you're enabling? Uh, again, that's why I say every day you have to take time, and that's what I've been doing. There's time just sitting there being quiet, but there's time really focusing. And so, you'll go through some emotions. You'll get pissed, you'll get happy, you'll get angry, you'll get sad when you're going through these thoughts. But that's part of, if you suppress it, it will transform into something else. You can't, if there's a problem, I'll solve it. If there's an issue and it keeps coming up, you just can't pretend it's not there. You can't say, well, I'm just not going to talk about it because I just want to. It's not going to just go away. It 9 times out of 10 it doesn't just go away. You have to confront it. You have to unpack it. Maybe a couple things get back in there, but eventually you gotta get it out. You gotta get on the road and get to your destination. What do you want? Ultimately, what do you want? That's what you have to keep asking yourself. What do I want? The other thing, man, these damn pins keep stop writing. The other thing that the phase I'm going through right now, been there before, is the blame. A lot of us do it. It's like, where do I stand in this? Especially if you do self-evaluation. Some of us will take on all burden. Oh, it was my fault. I'm just dumb. And this is where there's a difference between right and wrong, depending on what direction you're wanting to go. I'm in Florida, so if I'm wanting to go to North Carolina, when I hit the Florida Georgia line, if I take a left, I'm going the wrong way. Unless I'm trying to take a detour and come around the other way, but I'm going the wrong way. So you have to figure out what your responsibility is, but then you also have to come to a point where you don't take blame for stuff that it's just not on you. And I had a really hard time with that years ago, and you have to get to the point where, you have to look at results. What do you want, and what are your results? That's what it comes down to. That's kind of my formula for, I've shared with you. I've used the Serenity Prayer, but the basic fundamental formula for me, when it comes to situations, is what do I want, and what are my results? Then you have to look at what do I change, and then you have to be aware. Okay, I made this change. Now what are my results? Now, of course, this applies differently to different situations. That if you're dealing with family members, if you're dealing with a partner, a lover, or if you're dealing with friends, there's different ways to approach it. But it seems pretty clear to me that you focus on what you want. Does shit happen? Is shit gonna happen? Sure, but it's kind of like It's kind of like a credit card. You're in debt on a credit card, and you want to get rid of it. You put a plan in place to pay it off, right? You stop using it. You put the credit card away. You make your payments, and you just it's done. That plan is set in place. That's taken care of. You don't sit there and keep looking at it and say, "Man, I'm in debt. I'm in debt." No, you leave it alone. You have a plan in place to take care of it, and then you focus on what you want from there. Yeah. Focus on what you want. See what your results are. Are you getting the results you want?